kind of picked up a little bit slowly. My name is Charlie Chappel, and I am the Master Online Tutor at Home Success Center at Eastern Michigan University. Been working with this online program for 2 years. It was kind of not necessarily my brainchild. It was picked up by another master tutor who came before me. She kind of picked up the idea of it, but then I kind of like to think of it as my adopted child. I wasn't the one who came up with it, but I really encouraged it, kind of grew it from just a little idea to what it is today. What we'll be covering is what I have in front of you right now. I'm going to first talk briefly about Home and Success Center's peer tutoring history, which will give you a little bit of background information about why we created an online tutoring program. I'm going to talk about our method, which could vary greatly in how you want to design your own online tutoring program. I'll talk about some marketing and advertising techniques, which are going to be essential for new online tutoring programs. I'll go into some troubleshooting because, as we all are familiar with, computers and the internet are not perfect, and we need to be vigilant in correcting those mistakes. And then at the very end, hopefully we have some time left for questions too, but I'll talk about the future of our online tutoring program and some innovations that we haven't applied yet, but I would like to apply within the next year. So what I'd like to first start out by asking, who has a online tutoring program at their campus right now? Okay. Oh, awesome. More than I thought. It's good to know that it's not as unfamiliar as I had thought. When we were first researching this program, we found that a lot of schools are unfamiliar with online tutoring. And so it's good to know that there are online tutoring programs out there. So first, some history behind Home and Success Center's peer tutoring program. It works pretty similar to a lot of other peer tutoring programs, in that a student will come into the office or online and register for peer tutoring by signing up and saying, I need help with Math 110. So they'll either go into the office or start this application online. Essentially after that, they have to wait for an email correspondent from the tutor, and there's some communication back and forth between the tutor and student. And that takes a little bit of time, but eventually the student is paired up with the tutor, and a tutoring session will begin. They can meet for a max of 2 hours a week, which just means that we kind of like to spread out our tutoring throughout the semester. This tutoring isn't really designed as drop-in tutoring as much as to help the students learn throughout the semester. We're not just here to, help a student with their homework. We're here to improve their learning skills, and that's what our peer tutoring is designed for. But with that limitation, they can only meet 2 hours a week, which just means that we kind of, again, encourage that they develop this learning process over the course of the whole semester. Another restriction for it is that they have to meet on campus, and that's just generally a safety issue, that we encourage our tutors and students to talk with each other about a good place to meet on campus, whether that's in the library or in the student center or perhaps in a open kind of tutoring room in one of our other classroom buildings. So why did we start online tutoring? Well, it was kind of to alleviate those problems, the restrictions that peer tutoring has. Eastern, at least, has a large commuter community, which just means that a lot of the times our students aren't on campus to receive peer tutoring, which means obviously they can't get peer tutoring. They come on campus maybe one time a week to save money on gas, as we know, which is increasing. And they're there, again, maybe once a week. So they can't be on campus to receive peer tutoring. You can start online tutoring within 5 minutes. And I'll get to that process in a bit here, but the point is that is a lot faster than the process it takes to sign up for peer tutoring. The peer tutoring process, you have to sign up, you get a list of all of the tutors who can teach that class that you need help in, and then there's some communication back and forth. Whereas the registration process for online tutoring takes less than 5 minutes, and you can be tutoring with somebody within that 5 minutes. Online tutoring is designed as an additional resource as well, meaning it's not supposed to compete with peer tutoring. It's not as if we're stealing students away. No, online tutoring is kind of an extra arm for peer tutoring, and that we're just there to help out where peer tutoring has a little bit of limitations. As I'm going through this, if you guys have any questions about anything as I'm going, again, I hope that there's going to be some time at the end for questions. But if you guys have any questions as I'm kind of going through this, please don't hesitate to ask. Again, I've been running this program for 2 years, so I know a decent amount about my own online tutoring program. I will say this, the one platform that we use is called AskOnline.net. I was given that as our kind of method for online tutoring. There are other platforms out there, so if you guys have specific questions about those, I may not be able to answer only because I'm only familiar with Ask Online. There are other websites and sources out there, but I was given the platform after the platform had already been chosen. Before I get into our method of online tutoring, I'd like to discuss the synchronous versus asynchronous online tutoring, because it is a big choice when you're coming up with your online tutoring program. And there's a great difference between asynchronous and synchronous online tutoring and what they both have to offer. Asynchronous tutoring is just that the student and the tutor are online at separate times, akin to something of a forum discussion, where a student will post a question and the tutor will answer it at a later time. And these are real familiar with forum posts where a user posts something and another user says something, and the conversation carries on when the users are online at a separate time. Synchronous online tutoring is just that the tutor and the student are online at the same time in a chat room type sequence. A lot of us are familiar with the chat rooms that have been going on since basically AIM, Facebook, iChat, Google, Hangout, those kind of things. And essentially it's just that two parties are speaking at the same time, in this case, a tutor and a student. In the previous challenge that I had mentioned, it's just two users. In this case, it's the tutor and the student. There can be multiple kinds of synchronous online tutoring, namely to public and private. The way we have ours set up is public online tutoring through a chat room. And that just means that anybody who is in the chat room who's talking can see anything that the other person is saying. In a private chat room sequence, you might have everybody in the same chat room, but the tutor is only talking to one person at a time. So you kind of have separate conversations, but everybody's in this chat room at the same time. It would be kind of an instance like this, where I would be the tutor, you all would be the students, but I could address you separately, you would only see our conversation. I could also address you, you would only see our conversation. We'd essentially be having two conversations at the same time. We kind of saw that as, that seems a little overwhelming for our online tutors, just to begin with. So we decided to go with the public online tutoring, which turned out to be great as well, because group tutoring could occur at that time. We had designed it initially to be kind of a one-on-one tutoring, where one student would hop online and the tutor would be there and they would receive one-on-one tutoring. However, it's happened before, and I'll get into that a little bit later, that multiple students have come online and received tutoring in the same subject about the same thing. Even one time it was two students from the same class had questions about the same homework problem and were in the chat room at the same time. So the student was able to answer all of their questions because they were very similar. What I'd like to talk about now is our online tutoring method. Now again, online tutoring methods can vary from campus to campus just because of what your campus needs are. Again, as I discussed before, Eastern has a large commuter community, so that's what we were kind of adding as our initial target audience. And what we wanted our online tutoring community to be is a kind of compact, precise online tutoring community. So we had to be very adept at choosing our classes. We couldn't just go willy-nilly and say, well, we want tutoring in math and science and chemistry and biology and astronomy and accounting and everything. We had to limit ourselves only because we could only hire so many online tutors. We couldn't find tutors who could tutor in everything under the sun, so we really had to limit ourselves in choosing our classes. I'll then talk about specifically our version of synchronous online tutoring that I've dabbled in a little bit right now. I'll also talk about the tactics of hiring online tutors. Most of the stuff is very similar qualities that you're looking for in peer tutors. However, there are some specifics that you want to look for when hiring online tutors. And then I will actually show you the site that we use for our online tutoring, kind of explore that a bit. Again, I'm trying not to promote Ask Online, but it's a little difficult when that is the resource that we use. So let's get started with how we choose our classes. Before we really had a system of online tutoring, we had to start from scratch. And essentially what that was let's go with the most popular classes that were being requested by students in peer tutoring. Because remember, online tutoring started as a branch of peer tutoring. We kind of wanted, in addition to peer tutoring and SI, to offer students another resource to receive help in. So we said, all right, let's see what are the most requested classes from peer tutoring and see if we can offer some additional help at additional times. So we looked at some popularity charts and took down some low-level math, chemistry, and physics classes, as those were the most requested in our peer tutoring system. After having a year under our belt, and now we're looking at 2 years, we're able to actually look at the popularity of our own online tutoring. Not so much as to what classes we want to add, but maybe what classes aren't doing so well or don't exactly fit with online tutoring. As you can see here, we've got a lot of low-level math classes. However, specifically, Math 104 through 120 was a great class for online tutoring, for whatever reason. The real low-level math class, that's Math 97A through 97B, didn't seem like a good fit. Only a few students came in that semester, and maybe it's something that we think about dropping. As far as classes that we wanted to add, we would talk to students and staff. In fact, one of the classes that we added last year, DS 265, which is just a business statistics class, we actually added to our online tutoring program because it was requested by a staff member. They helped us find some tutors for it, and we tried it out. Now, that class didn't do so well in online tutoring, so it only lasted about a semester, but these are the kind of trial and errors that we had to deal with in first creating an online tutoring community. Now, having 2 years in, we do have some solid classes that we know work for online tutoring. The lower level math classes do exceptionally well. Chemistry, as you can see, is a top-notch class, and it has been since its creation. We've tried a few other math classes, a few other physics and chemistry classes, a psychology, biology, and what we found is that students really like classes that have computational homework, stuff that they can ask questions about, stuff that needs to be discussed online, those type of classes. As far as requested by students, we actually sent out a survey to the students who tutor online. And this survey would just be filled out after their online tutoring session. And one of the questions was, what kind of classes would you like to see added to online tutoring? And if we got a big hit back on, this is a class that should be added, say Bio 120, and it got a lot of requests on that survey, we might consider adding that to online tutoring, even if it is just for a semester. We try it out, see if it works. If it gets a lot of responses, we keep it. If not, we toss it down the drain and try something else next semester. One big part that I encourage all of you, if you don't have an online tutoring program, is trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error. So I've talked a little bit here and there about our own version of online tutoring. I'd like to go a little bit more in depth now. Again, I've mentioned before that it is supposed to alleviate the problems or the limitations that come with peer tutoring. Again, they are not meant to compete with each other. It's kind of like a third arm for peer tutoring. So our version is through synchronous hop-on hours. Essentially kind of think of this as a tutoring lab, an open chat room where tutors are assigned hop-on hours for 2 hours, say 5 to 7. And for that entire time, the tutor is waiting in the chat room for a student to come in. And any time during that time, students who are registered can come in and receive tutoring. The great part about this is that there's no maximum or minimum hours. The student can receive 5 minutes of online tutoring if they just have a quick question, or can receive 2 hours of online tutoring if they really need help studying for a test. Another additional part of this is that there's no student-tutor commitment. With our peer tutoring, we like to have our students paired with a tutor throughout the semester. This way it kind of builds that student-tutor relationship, and the tutor gets to know what strategies work best for that student. In this instance, it's generally more of a come in and receive help and leave when you're done. There's no commitment to coming back next week, although we've had a lot of students who find great success with online tutoring do that. If they're available every Monday at 6:30 and that works for them, they're in the online chat room for Chemistry 121 every Monday at 6:30. For our students, we offer online tutoring 5 to 11 Sunday through Thursday. Again, there's no minimum or maximum commitment, which lets the students pick and choose their tutoring. It's free for EMU students, and when I talk, and I'll show you the actual website, it's free for EMU students, and that just essentially means that they have to provide their Eastern login and password to kind of verify that they're Eastern students. This way, they don't kind of go off saying, oh, hey, to my WCC friends, hey, you guys should check out this Eastern online tutoring. Well, no, you paid to go to Eastern, it should be free for Eastern students. And again, the great part about it is that they can get tutored from anywhere. Peer tutoring is restricted that you are only tutoring on campus. This is obviously anywhere that you can get a computer and internet access, you can get free online tutoring. For our tutors, they can tutor from anywhere. A lot of our tutors, this is not their only job. They have several other jobs, they're taking classes, they're active students. So they have busy schedules too. Not all of them can be on campus at all times. So this makes it easy for them to wake up in their pajamas at 5 o'clock at night if they worked a night shift and tutor. We also allow hybrid tutors, which is essentially peer tutors who also online tutor. This is great because if there is a peer tutor who isn't really getting a lot of work tutoring students and wants some more hours, can subsidize that with online tutoring. Kind of makes it great for their pay, in addition to the tutoring experience that they may or may not be getting through either peer tutoring or online tutoring. And it works the same way too. If they're not getting a lot of hits on the online tutoring, they're just kind of sitting in the chat room saying, all right, I've been here for 2 hours and nobody showed up, well, they are hopefully getting students through peer tutoring as well. And essentially what we found now is that most of our online tutors are hybrid tutors. They enjoy having kind of the best of both worlds. Yeah, we've got some tutors that are specifically online tutors. They've gotten so busy in their lives that perhaps they've taken up internships or they've taken jobs elsewhere that they can't actually be on campus anymore. And so at that point, we kind of allow them to just be online tutors. It is a requirement personally for me in our program that they start out as hybrid tutors just so that they kind of get a little bit of feel for the tutoring community. But if they've been there for at least this semester, we kind of ease up on them, and a lot of them have come to me telling me their concerns and their schedule commitment. And I've agreed that as long as they can stay committed online tutors, that's 100% okay with me. Being an online community, we don't actually meet face-to-face. And that can cause some distance if you want to maintain a great tutoring community. So an idea we had early on in our first semester was to come up with weekly online meetings. And all those are just max half an hour weekly meetings that occur online that just kind of update the tutors onto everything that's going on with online tutoring, whether that be an update to the paperwork, a conference going on that weekend, or a update to the tutoring manual. These were highly important in the beginning because, as I said before, it was a lot of trial and error. So there was a lot of, well, this didn't work this week, and we're going to try something new, so everybody kind of be on the bandwagon for this. And then the next week, we would say, oh, well, maybe that didn't work. We have to try this. And so, at least initially, we wanted to say to our online tutors, make sure you're flexible. Things are changing quite often, and we want to make sure that stuff works so that we can actually get a solid online tutoring program like we have today. In addition, not exactly on our first semester, but in our second semester, I realized I needed help running the online tutoring community. It's definitely more than a one-man job, especially from the get-go. There was a lot of administrating the actual site itself, kind of dealing with some bugs that we didn't initially think would be there, and managing the tutors themselves. So I decided to promote one of our online tutors to an Ask Online assistant. And essentially what they were kind of the manager of the online tutoring. They would run a lot of the meetings, help me run some of the marketing techniques that I'm going to go over later, while I ran some of the more administrative stuff, talking to department heads, talking to professors, advertising about online tutoring, and again, just administrating the site itself. And as far as an assistant goes, it really depends on how large your online tutoring community is actually going to be. If you're sticking to maybe a few tutors and one subject, you really want to be specific and say, well, we're only going to offer online tutoring for math. Maybe you don't need an assistant. That would be a one-man job. But we kind of wanted to branch out a little bit. We wanted to keep it small and compact, but not restrict it to just one subject. So as far as hiring your online tutors, what we started was hiring from within our online tutoring, from within our own tutoring community, our peer tutoring community. And we just found that that was easier because there's less training that we had to do with our online tutors if they already knew the basics of tutoring. Not that we wouldn't hire outsiders who had no additional tutoring experience, but it made it easier for us if the tutors knew about the Home and Success Center, how we ran our program, how the paperwork was run, just kind of stuff like that. They still get interviewed. It's still a separate interview process. There's still separate qualities that we're looking for, but if they were already involved in the Home and Success Center, we knew that they kind of had a foot above those who were coming from the outside. Now, yes, if they had exceptional tutoring experience, perhaps they were an online tutor at a different program coming from a different school, yes, of course, we looked at them, still interviewed them themselves. But for the most part, we hired from within our tutoring community. And a lot of the times, that's how most of our tutors became hybrids, was they started as a peer tutor and just kind of upgraded to also be a hybrid tutor, doing a little bit of peer tutoring and online tutoring. So some of the qualities that we're looking for in our online tutors are knowledgeable and resourceful. The knowledgeable is kind of an obvious. We want our tutors to know a lot about their subject. But especially in an online case, we want them to be resourceful. When a student asks a question online and the tutor doesn't know the answer, we need the tutor to be able to know where to look for that answer. And sometimes it's not as easy as just opening up Google and typing in, what's the quadratic equation? We needed our online tutors to be able to know where to look. We need them to be articulate online. When you're talking face-to-face, there's a lot of things that are a bonus for when you're not online. For example, facial features and fluctuation. Online, if there's no comma, there's no difference between let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma. So we need our online tutors to be able to specify between what they mean and what they're saying online. We need them to be highly articulate in what they're saying and be able to get the message across clearly the first time. They need to be prompt at checking emails. As I've mentioned before, the online tutors, we don't really meet in person. We have the weekly online meetings, which happen once a week, but it's not as if nothing happens between Sunday of one week and Sunday of the next week. There's constantly stuff happening. Errors that might be occurring, updates that people don't know about, people calling off, that sort of thing. So they need to be highly prompt at checking their emails because that's how communication happens between myself, the Ask Online assistant, and our online tutors. In fact, there's a test I run before actually hiring them. Right after the interview, I'll send an email saying, if you're still interested in the job, here's some, and it's basically a real basic email with some basic info. Nothing highly important there. The critical part of the email, though, is to see how fast they can respond to that email. It's almost a little bit of a test that they don't know about, but it is still part of the interview process. If they take a little bit too long answering that email, I may reconsider hiring them, because the being prompt at checking their emails is a high and huge part of online tutoring, just because of its nature of being online. And as with any tutor, we need them to be patient and helpful, especially online. A student may have trouble with properly expressing themselves or properly expressing what their concern or question is online. And so the tutor will need to be patient with the student in what they're trying to get help with. And again, this kind of ties back into the being able to articulate correctly online what their message is that they're trying to get across. There's a lot of communication that happens online through text, and a lot of that can kind of be jumbled up if the message isn't clear of what you're trying to say. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and enter the site, kind of show you guys how our site is run from the student's perspective. At this point, though, are there any questions about our online tutoring program or how it's run? That's great. So this is the login page, and this is what students will come to when they enter in our site, emuhsc.askonline.net. Before they can enter in the site, though, they have to register, and that's a very simple process. They enter in their emish username, which is just the username to their email. They enter their password, which verifies them as an EMU student. They'll get a verification email sent to that email. They respond to that, and boom, they've created an account. Now they can go in and change their information on their account, but let's say, for example, that a student just wanted to get some online tutoring immediately. So let's jump into the site. Once a student is in, this is the home page that they see. A bunch of tabs up here, home, subjects, my account. If they wanted to change anything with my account, they can go to the my account. But the bread and butter of the online tutoring platform of AskOnline.net are these two columns here, the home and the subjects tab. Since we only offer online tutoring Sunday through Thursday, there's no schedule for Saturday, which makes it look a little blank today. But let's create a hypothetical student, Marv, who's coming in Sunday tomorrow at 5:30 to receive tutoring in Math 110. And he wants to check the schedule for tomorrow. He goes down here to where he can select the day. He selects tomorrow, the 14th. He scrolls down the schedule, sees the Math 110 chat room, sees that, oh, Leah Rigney is going to be online from 5 to 7 p.m. Perfect. 5:30 is when I need to be online. The only thing he needs to do is click on the Math 110 link. Takes him to a separate page. He clicks on chat because that's the only option he has. It goes through this checklist, which just makes sure that the computer that he's running on has all of the updates to it. Prior to about a month ago, our online tutoring platform required the most up-to-date Java and the most up-to-date Flash program. And this caused 75% of our errors, because as hopefully some of you know, that can be a bit wearing on your platform, is always having to update and have the most up-to-date Java and Flash. I am so fed up with Java and its constant updates and changing one little thing, and then you need a new update, you have to reinstall and install it, and it was just a nightmare. And after enough badgering of them and kind of, hey, when are you IT guys actually going to do something about this? They finally upgraded to HTML5, which I'll bring up a little bit later because that is going to come with a bunch of huge bonuses itself. So essentially, they are in this chat room. Since it's Saturday, it comes up with this error message: dear student, currently there is no tutor online, so you should come back when there is. But let's assume that it's Sunday and Leah is currently in the chat room with that student. She will pop up here, where the student will clearly be able to see that Leah's been online. The typing chat happens here. Student says hello, and it pops up with their name highlighted in blue. Everybody else just kind of falls into the background as white, so that way you can tell what your own message is being sent as, coming across as blue. One of the other great features about Ask Online and our own online tutoring program is this whiteboard all the way to the left. And basically what this lets us do is, it functions very similar to Paint, with those of you familiar with the Mac or the PC. I have yet to find a great equivalent for the Mac, only because I'm much more of a PC guy. But our Mac users, we've got several online tutors who use a Mac, and they've had no problem adapting to this. And essentially it has a bunch of tools, a bunch of sizes and fonts, color palette, copy and paste technique. You can print from here. You can save your work as a screenshot, bring it back into the chat or the whiteboard at a different time, and work on that later. So for everything that you don't get for face-to-faceness as far as online tutoring goes, the whiteboard kind of makes up for that. And actually there's a new innovation that I will hopefully get to talk about that will actually entirely fix that problem. So if you guys have any other questions about Ask Online, that's kind of my brief demo. I can talk to you at length about that. But as far as other online tutoring platforms, again, I was kind of given this adopted child once it was chosen that we were going to be doing Ask Online.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So is Ask Online something the college has paid for your access through?
Yes. Yeah. Most of these are in fact, all of them were paid platforms. Yeah, paid subscriptions. They last for a year, so we bought it in spring of 2011, and so that goes through a whole year, and we're actually coming to the end of our second year of having it purchased. We know for certain that we're going to purchase it at least for another year, just because of the adaptations that we've made. All this work that I've put in is through Ask Online.
Do you have information on the cost, or is it based on student population, or how?
As far as the cost goes, I'm actually going to direct you to, after my presentation's done, to my lovely director, Judy Mack here. She was one of the ones who had a hand in making that decision, and she knows much more about the actual cost of it. Now, I can talk at length about the cost that it takes to run it, the cost of the online tutors, how much they get paid for being online, that sort of thing. As far as the cost of the actual platform herself, I'm going to direct questions from her. So just kind of to summarize, first year online tutoring starter kit. These are the things you want to focus in on. The type of online tutoring that you want to offer. Again, this kind of goes back to that asynchronous, synchronous online tutoring. What classes will be offered? Do you want this to be a real precise, compact online tutoring program where you only offer it for maybe, say, one class? An online class maybe, Psychology 205. An accountability and record system. And this is essentially just how you're going to keep track of how long your online tutors are online. We decided to go with an online tutor pay summary, an OTPS, which just essentially tracks the online tutors, how long they've been online, and who they're tutoring. We can then go back and look at the usernames. There's actually a record system within Ask Online itself that lets us check who they've been tutoring and how long they've been tutoring them for. Some marketing methods that I'm going to get to here after the slide, and some feedback. Feedback is crazy important for a first-year program, and even still more for a second-year program. We really didn't know if the direction we were going in was a good fit for our students until we were able to read some of the feedback from those students. Kind of from then, we've been able to kind of weave our way through to finding a better fit for our students. And we've kind of perfected that at this point. We're still getting feedback and we're still changing our program, but we're much more solid now that we have a better understanding of what our students want from our online tutoring program. So I've been talking about marketing and how marketing is crazy, crazy important for a first-year program. I just want to talk a little bit about some methods that would be helpful to me if I knew them at the point I was trying to create this brand new online tutoring program. There's a bunch of different mediums that you definitely want to go into. Just because it is easier for a student to know about online tutoring if they receive it through a bunch of different mediums. You could just email all of the students on campus who are taking the classes that we offer for online tutoring and assume that they're all going to read their emails, not delete them, read them in length, and then, oh yes, we want online tutoring. No, if we kind of send them message after message after message, almost bombarding them with online tutoring, the message gets across that, oh hey, I keep hearing about this online tutoring thing, I should check it out. And marketing should occur throughout the semester, and even before the semester. So again, this is kind of why I need to hire an assistant, because a lot of this work was just kind of bearing down on me. So get the word out there. Before the semester even starts, there's some things you can do to market your online tutoring program. A lot of these are kind of common sense, but they're things that we found have been incredibly helpful. Put online tutoring as a resource in the syllabus. A lot of professors have their peer tutoring or some type of math or science labs in their syllabus as a resource for students who may be struggling in the class. Online tutoring is just another one of those resources. So it just kind of makes sense that if we talk to the professors, kind of get them on our side for online tutoring, that we could throw it in as a resource to put on our syllabus. Freshman orientation, wow. All of our classes are low-level 100 classes. These are prime freshman classes, and if you get the word out that online tutoring is a resource that's 100% free, easy to get into, and uses the internet, freshmen are going to be all about that. And what better way than an orientation where they're all there? And this is actually something that we did earlier last year, so it would start for fall of this year. And you want to talk with department heads. This is something I discovered at the start of our second year, that talking with them about what classes might fit for online tutoring is actually a great way to advertise online tutoring, because then they get to talking about it at department meetings, the word kind of gets passed down from department heads to professors, then the professors are hearing about it, maybe talking about it in their chat room, in their classrooms. So just kind of in general, you want to get the word out there about online tutoring in every way possible, just so it gets people talking about it. I've got some flyers here that I'm just going to pass around. These are some of the ways that we kind of innovated and drew our attention to online tutoring, kind of posted them around campus. We wanted bright colors, basic information, just kind of a way for students to quickly look at and get the basic information about online tutoring. One of the greatest ways that we found to advertise is through bookmarks and classroom visits. I can hand some of these out to you guys. And essentially what these were us emailing professors who taught in these subjects and asking them if we could briefly come in during the beginning or at the end of their class, talk for 5 minutes about the benefits of online tutoring to their students, and hand out these bookmarks, which just kind of started as, an advertising technique. But again, within my second semester, I kind of realized, hey, this is a perfect way to also give the instructions of how to register. We kind of want to make this as easy as possible for students so that they have to do as little work as possible. And so this just kind of has the really easy registering steps on there, as well as the site link itself, so that if students were just kind of off in space, not really paying attention to the speaker, oh hey, at least I still have the website and I can check that out. Some other things that are on here that I won't go into too much depth on, but emailing to students directly. This was a great method that we found. We would just email all of the students who were taking the classes that we were offering for online tutoring. So for us, that included the low-level math classes, Chemistry 121 and 123, and Physics 221 and 222. Get the news out in campus announcements. Our campus, Eastern, has kind of a homepage, and we thought it might be a good idea on the campus announcements to say, hey, online tutoring exists, try it out, get the word out that way. And actually, during our second semester, we also were able to get a newspaper article published about us, which again is just a great medium for advertising the word about online tutoring. So some results from our first 2 years of offering online tutoring. The total number of new students registered for year 1 was 391. And so that just kind of encompasses, that's 391 students registered for fall of 2011 to winter 2012. You'll see that though, in our second year, that number jumped to 493. That's not 493 students total, that's new students who had not already registered in year one, registered for year two. And this kind of told me that our students were liking online tutoring, that this was a good fit for them. That also kind of showed in the average number of students per week. It started as 14, and that's just 14 students who happened to come online. Maybe they didn't actually hop in a chat room, they just wanted to check out the website, but a majority of this was them actually coming into a chat room and receiving tutoring. That number increased then to 17, which kind of makes sense when you see the numbers. I do want to draw you to one number though. Our number of online tutors did not increase. While we've kind of switched out some tutors, some have graduated, others it wasn't exactly a great fit for them and they left after a semester. But we basically kept our numbers consistently at 13. So we haven't really increased the number of online tutors, it's just that students have responded positively to online tutoring. And it's not a great fit for everybody. We've seen campuses that do keep their online tutoring community small because there's not a lot of students that use it. However, our students seem to be appreciating it. Yeah, question?
So I just had two questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of like surveys attached to online tutoring? Because I know that we have surveys attached to like our walk-in tutoring and our appointment tutoring.
Yeah.
Are there surveys attached to the online tutoring?
Yep. At the beginning of the semester, I write a survey with just some real simple basic questions. How would you rate your online tutoring experience? Who is your online tutor? That sort of deal. And I ask my online tutors at the end of their session, when they're all done wrapping that up, that they send this link to the survey for the students to fill out. And the students then fill that out. Now, could students pass on filling it out and just kind of say, no, I'm not going to? Sure. But we kind of expect that enough students are going to that it's going to get a nice population of kind of an average of how our students feel. And we've gotten negative and positive feedback. I'm happy to say that mostly this semester it's been hugely positive, and that's a great
Do the tutors also get to reflect on the online experience?
Yes, and usually I'll wait until the end of the semester so that they can kind of summarize the whole semester's tutoring experience. That way we can kind of differ from semester to semester rather than from week to week.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then just one other question.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, when are you offering it? I'm thinking like there are kids that want tutoring like between 10 and 2 a.m.
And that's actually one question that we do ask. We say, what time would be best available for you? We ask what time and what days, because especially when we were first starting these out, we didn't really know what days to offer online tutoring. We kind of ruled out Friday and Saturday night because, let's be honest, who's going to want online tutoring on like the very start of their weekend? So we kind of limited that to Sunday and Thursday.
Is it evening tutoring?
Evening tutoring, yep, 5 to 11. I did try one semester to offer tutoring from 1 to 3, and I actually found that a lot of students...
1 to 3 a.m.
No, 1 p.m., sorry, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
I was like, you got some dedicated tutors.
Well, and it's funny that actually that you mentioned that. Our first semester, we did offer online tutoring from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Just because we thought, okay, hey, a lot of students are studying really late at night, maybe right before a test. They've been procrastinating. They're like, I need help now.
Right, so
Where
you're
do I
from
go?
5 to 10 p.m.?
5 to 7. Right now we've got it 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 11. Yep. And that's basically what we've settled on. We offered it a little bit earlier in the summer just because generally people have a little bit more free time then. But as far as fall and winter go, we basically stuck with 5 to 11, Sunday through Thursday. Some further benefits. This is a nice segue actually into some of the survey results that we got. Not all of our students have to leave responses, but these are some of them. It really helped me understanding the math problems. A great example for why online tutoring is perfect. I am in San Antonio, Texas doing an internship, so this was absolutely the best help for me. This is somebody who is states away and can't come in to do peer tutoring. So this works, again, absolutely the best to help her. And finally at the bottom, if she didn't know something, referring to one of the online tutors, she would look it up. She didn't give up on helping me. And this is why, again, one of our qualifications for being an online tutor is that they have to be patient and helpful. I talked about troubleshooting. And in my 2 years of this online tutoring experience, again, we've had everything from just a little burp that maybe happens in one person's chat room to one day none of the chat rooms were working. The entire platform was shut down. And I was getting emails and texts left and right saying, oh no, the platform's not working, what's going on? I can't even log in, it just kicks me out. And so kind of the trick to this is defining an appropriate error response system. And it took us a little bit of time to figure that out. It started as just, all right, if you see an error, just email me about it, send me a screenshot, I'll send it to the IT guys at Ask Online. Eventually though, I kind of figured out some of these errors are very similar. Some people are having similar errors maybe on the same day or during the same week. So instead of sending them to me one at a time, we came up with a error response forum. And this is kind of what it looks like. Specifically up here, we have whiteboard issues. So these were just errors that were occurring within the whiteboard. And as you can see, some of the summaries, freezing, not loading at all, half working, invisible ink. I mean, we had a crazy wide range of errors that would occur. And the IT guys, bless their hearts, they were real diligent. We would send out an error report to them. We've gotten real consistent on it every week now on Friday. And they got back to us within, I can say, 4 hours. And if they didn't know the answer right then, they could at least tell us, hey, you know, we're looking into it, we'll get back to you when we know it. A lot of the times it was just, hey, they kind of magically fixed it. Other times it was just they were running an update. For example, lately they've been upgrading from using Java and Flash to HTML5, and so a lot of our errors were occurring from that update. This half-working one was actually one of those. And as you can see, they can attach the screenshot, which is also hugely essential to the IT guys because then they can actually see what went wrong and how it was kind of funking up. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about kind of where our online tutoring program's headed. Tablets are becoming a big part of everybody's daily resource now, and we kind of want to explore using online tutoring in that capacity so that you wouldn't just have to be sitting at a computer or sitting at a laptop with internet. You could be walking around on a tablet receiving online tutoring. Video chat rooms is another angle we want to try and approach using Skype, Google Hangout, if you guys have ever heard of Uvu, those sort of things. And that would essentially eliminate the clunkiness of having to type. You would just be meeting person to person. And lastly, scheduling private appointments, kind of opening up that sector, not just limiting it to public chat rooms, but also opening up private appointments. At this point, I'll take, can't read that. I'll take any questions that you guys have, again, about anything about our online tutoring program. If you have anything specifically about the beginnings, kind of the programs themselves and how much they cost and stuff like that, I'll direct you to Judy Mack. But as far as our online tutoring program goes, or askonline.net, I'll take any and all questions. But otherwise, thank you for staying with this presentation, and drive safe, guys. It doesn't look like it's snowing or raining right now. Looks like it cleared up right on time. And I appreciate you guys being here, so thank you.
Presenting the license for that, because I don't get that.
No, there were a lot. They were just
Yeah, having like anything else that are on